Good afternoon. It is now 5:03, and I'll call the Master Plan Committee meeting of Wednesday, December 18th to order. First order of business is a roll call, so we'll start with you, Meg.
Meg Schlesman.
Linda Brown.
Robert Moran.
Carol Gogolinsky.
Bob Benerick. Gordon Larrabee.
Rich Preston. We're all here. We have anybody online?
We're just missing Mike and Ross.
Okay, very good.
Mr. Zwicker and Mr. Smith.
Okay. And we still have yet to make an appointment. I don't know if an application was made by Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yeah, applications were submitted to the selectmen's office. The selectmen then need to appoint them, and then the planning board needs to appoint them to us.
Wow. Sounds bureaucratic to me. I don't know. Yikes. Okay. We'll take it. So if you would take a look at the minutes of, I believe, 11:20. Let me know what you think.
Okay, I have them already.
Oh, here she comes.
Hello.
I haven't applied yet. I'll make a snap vote right now.
Were you appointed? Okay, just want to do it for the minute.
Yeah, planning board, I think, went through. Selectmen is what's left.
Okay, thank you.
The select board is before the planning board.
Oh, selectmen first?
Yeah, the selectmen first.
I don't.
They both meet before our next meeting.
I don't have Ross's number, but I did text Zwicker.
Yeah, he said 5:30 would be a better time for him. He's wrapping up at the
Oh,
shop,
okay.
so he might be a little bit late.
How long does it take you to write these, Linda?
Well, it takes me
It takes a while to read
2
them.
hours to view it on YouTube,
Yeah.
and then I go to the Burrillville Library and type everything up, so that's about another hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yikes.
Give me something to do. I'm
But the pay is good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep my finger in the pie.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry I'm late.
Ross.
Chair, I have a question on the minutes. Was there a moment, like, didn't you show up, like, towards the end of this meeting?
I think,
Isn't there a moment where she should have arrived at the meeting and yet?
what?
For the last one.
Well, she moved to adjourn. You're good.
Well, I did put you in.
Appreciate that.
Just want to get you credit instead of me.
Yep, she's in attendance, actually. She's listed.
You covered that.
She's covered. We got it covered.
All right.
We'll send the bus up there.
Oh, I did have that at the end. Oh, no, that's a motion, sorry.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, motion's on the table. Motion made by Bob, seconded by Meg. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, those abstaining, the ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Thank you. So, with your permission, as a committee, I'd like to just change things up a bit, and with your permission also from CMRPC, we have Judy and Dan Russell. We're here. Are you both residents of town?
Yes.
Wonderful. They're here to make a presentation regarding a proposed YMCA, so I thought we'd take them first, as opposed to have them sit. So why don't you come on up and join us? Squeeze in where you can.
Room for you.
Some room?
Hi, neighbor. Hey, how you doing?
Up on it? Sorry.
Good evening.
Four.
For coming.
I was still.
You have the floor.
Can we
Well.
make them have a mic, because other than that,
All right. So first of all, thank you for having us here. Again, my name is Dan Russell, my wife Judy. We've been in Douglas now for 15 years, which clearly makes us newcomers compared to this group. And we're hoping to provide some information and get support from the planning committee to consider adding something like a YMCA or a community center into the long-term plans for Douglas. We want to talk about some of the values of doing that, and if there is support, what would be some of the next steps that we would go through to do that. We provided and passed through Matthew a pretty detailed presentation, I don't know, probably a month ago or so. My thought was not to necessarily flip through that whole thing. There's a lot of words in that, but I really wanted to just look at a couple of highlights of why we think this is worth considering, and then how we would go about doing that. So first, we think there's just an underserved need in Douglas. If you think about the local opportunities for athletic and social centers nearby, you're really looking at Putnam and Whitensville for the community center, and for Putnam for the YMCA. So there's really nothing that is either physically centered in Douglas or necessarily within that what's typically called the 15-minute or less drive time that gets people to go to someplace. You're not going to typically want to drive 30 minutes to go exercise or 30 minutes to go swim in a pool or go to a social event. So 15 minutes is viewed as sort of that limit, and less than 15 is encouraged. So when we looked at some of the demographics shown in the presentation, there is a meaningful gap in the Douglas and surrounding communities to the south that are just not covered by those two facilities. We did look broader. We looked into Rhode Island and into Worcester and the whole area to cover all of the opportunities, and did some quick demographic work. And there's roughly 20,000 people that are in that area. It's not all Douglas residents. It does extend a little bit into the south. But it's people that don't have a facility that's within that 15-minute drive time area. So, in addition, Douglas doesn't really benefit directly from these out-of-town facilities from the standpoint of drawing and being able to communicate to the young families and professionals or businesses and others that are looking to come into the area. It's not part of Douglas's infrastructure. So that's another potential value, is having that here as part of what is offered by the town. So we think of Putnam Y, and we're somewhat agnostic as to whether we're thinking about a Y or a community center. It's really just about an athletic and social center So that's why we looked at both of those in the demographic analysis. But we think that the Putnam Y is kind of a good example that we look at for when it's working. I don't know how many of you have been there, but it is a very vibrant and active facility. There's always something happening there. It services preschool children, high school kids, adults, seniors. There's always physical, social, swimming, sporting, leisure events all happening there. It's a very vibrant and active situation, and we believe that is part of what helps Putnam to hold its downtown as well. You know, it's part of a very vibrant downtown, restaurants, shops, just a lot to do down there. I think it's just, we don't have the demographics to argue that, but we believe that that's the kind of thing that draws people to a town, is having that social and physical or an athletic draw opportunity. And Putnam's a good example of that we believe. And we think that Douglas could benefit from something similar to this. And we would like to encourage the committee to move ahead with the more detailed analysis beyond what we've started to do, and think about the steps that would be required to figure out this, the siting, usage surveys. We don't yet have the numbers to show what, as you do a survey of the town and if decided the surrounding affected areas, who would be interested? What's the percentage of population that would, be interested in this kind of facility? So that's one of the, next steps. I kind of put together a list of, if there is interest, these are the kinds of things that we think about. And one is, first of all, just get agreement that we like the idea and we'd like to explore it more. Because there's likely to be, or need to be some money spent just in the assessment. If you're going to do surveys and things, there's going to be some amount of money and some amount of spend associated with getting that done. Site identification, what areas are around that would facilitate this. Typically, Ys or community centers of the type we're talking about require about 4 acres minimum of land. And then where does that locate in terms of the demographic need? And then with the results of a survey and some siting information, you can start to do the real operating and CapEx and OpEx models to figure out what's it cost to build it, and then how do you make it self-sustaining from a cash flow standpoint after it's up and running. So getting agreement would be what we would view as step one. Step two would be really talking about land opportunities. Step three we expect would be doing that survey work to figure out the need. Is the need really there? If we build it, do they come? Are people willing to commit? And there's examples of these kinds of models and development in the US and in Canada we've reviewed of how they will go about this process, the surveys, how they collect the information. How do they derate the survey? Just because someone says they're going to do something doesn't mean they're going to do it. So how do you do sensitivity analysis and be a little more pessimistic on surveys and things like that? So once you've done that, you can start to build the models, and then that figures out where does the funding come from for that main upfront capital. They tend to be, and part of the reason we focused on the YMCA model versus a community center is a community center tends to be almost all privately funded. YMCA's bring in the opportunity to blend the private funding with state funding, federal funding, and other sources to try to...
Government grants and the Y also.
Exactly.
The National Y offers grants to new facilities.
Yeah, it doesn't disqualify the community center model, but it does make that one a little bit more challenging unless you've got a broader foundation of private funding available for it. So those are the kinds of steps we're thinking about. I'll pause there. Has this been reviewed at all? Are there general thoughts or questions that we might be able to help with while we're here?
I have a question.
Sure.
You're talking about a survey. We just
Yeah.
did a townwide survey, and there
Yeah.
was a lot of need for open space or youth facilities, something like that. It was quite a bit of that.
Okay, good.
And
That's
so-
actually why we took the opportunity to present this to you now, because while you're thinking about the master plan, we thought it would be good to include something
because
like
to
this.
do that is very expensive. Even though it was just a little postcard,
Yeah.
to mail it to every resident, an enormous sum of money. And, yeah, so that would, I don't think this board would want to do it again, because that could be thousands of dollars to make sure they get to where they're going. And the survey is still open until the end of January. But you would expect this board to pay, or the town to pay for that survey?
My comment was, someone will have to figure out how to do a
Yeah.
survey, and whether
It
it's
is-
electronic or whether it's physical, what's the best way to do it, most
Yeah.
cost effectively, and really, so you can trust the data. It's not something we have, here's the answer to that. It's just something that we know would have to be done to move forward.
And what the topics of the survey would be, because we had a lot of different.
Yeah, and in this example, the survey is more straightforward as, if we had this kind of facility and it looked just like this, would you definitely become a member? Would you consider it, or no, you would not? It's really just, it's to understand the likelihood of getting people to
You're
come,
asking
so you can do your financial
specifically,
models.
YMCA or very similar. Honestly, I think it's a great idea. Having been in this town all my life and then some, we had woods to run in, that's getting more and more scarce, but not everybody wants to run through the woods. Not everybody can run through the woods. Like you say, some people want to take a swim or jog a couple laps or whatever. So this is something different. And looking at our master plan survey that we've done, there was a lot of response towards something like this, including an indoor ice rink was a few of the comments. So I think, I don't want to say it's a home run, but I think it's a pretty good hit that we get a good response on, honestly.
Meg, you had a,
Yes. Is your professional background such that you've worked on projects of this type in the past?
Not YMCA-type projects, but construction and expansion. My previous role was a COO for a rapidly growing company, so I built out factories in Georgia and Kentucky and Europe and Asia.
I have another question. So you're not representing the YMCA?
Not at all.
Any shape or
Not in
form?
any way, no.
No.
It's just like you want to build something like,
Correct.
Yeah.
Like I said, we went to the Y model versus the community center strictly for the economics.
so what you propose would not be a YMCA? It would be something else?
We're open to either.
Oh,
If the funding, the reason we focused on the YMCA proposal versus a community center is because community centers are almost exclusively privately funded. And that minimum cost for projects like this are in the 40 million,
yeah.
depending on the scope that's chosen, but it's
30 to 40.
30 to 40 million. So that would be 30 to 40 million of private funding. So that seemed to be maybe a big nugget to find. So then if we looked at the YMCA model, then you're, at least from the examples we found, the private funding tends to be more like 5 or 10 million, and the rest of it is made up by town, state, federal, and organization funds. So it's just a way to get the output product, which is the community center, the social center and athletic center, to do it in a way that is fundable.
I have a question. It kind of looks like you're looking more towards the Webster, Connecticut line, just based on like the
Yeah.
information you gave with the Whitensville Community Center being as close as it is to
Yeah.
us on this side of town. Is that an accurate assessment?
It is based on the demographics, but the survey itself would be the thing that helps to answer that question. If the
Okay.
survey says, yeah, I know I go to Whitensville, but if you had one in Douglas, I would go there because my neighbors go there, and I would support it.
But you're focusing on, that's all state forest. You would never be.
Oh, no, no, no. There would be nothing we would put in a state forest. That's not the,
Okay. Others who haven't spoken yet?
Forgot what I was going to ask.
Oh, no.
We'll get back. Anybody else? Comments,
No.
questions?
Can I go back to it? Would you need sewer and water for a project like this?
Absolutely.
That's what they're going back into the
It's not the Webster line at all.
So that ends up being one
South Douglas.
once again, that end of town gets completely left out of everything. We say one of the issues is that the Tassel Top area gets ignored, but once again, we're still looking at doing everything downtown.
That's because you have to.
If you don't have sewer and water,
No, I'm just saying that ends up being.
Yep, let's have it one at a time, okay? Anybody else? Did you come up with something else, Bob?
She took my question.
Well, you got something else? You work on it, okay? We'll come back.
That's why.
So it's interesting because the YMCA is a 501c3 nonprofit, and that's why they're able to raise
right.
government funding,
Exactly.
which is interesting. Have you had any experience, or have you been members of the YMCA at all, or any?
I've been the member of Putnam for years,
And
and
Worcester, we were
I drive
members,
30 minutes down there
years
just
ago.
to swim in their pool, because they have a beautiful pool. And
Yeah.
every time I go there, it's busy. They have senior classes during the day, they have childcare, they have after-school programs. It's just wonderful facility.
We do address open space and recreation, and we are in the nascent stage, so this is actually a good time to talk about this, so we welcome it. But the one thing I'd probably warn you is, this isn't a sprint, it's a
Yeah.
long-distance run.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But if you stay with it, that's how it works. It's not meant to go quickly, but if you build consensus, you can get there. Anybody else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would just offer that from a utilities perspective, a building like this uses a lot of energy. There's a lot of heat and water and
Yeah,
sewer.
steam and, yeah.
And steam and laundry, and, there's just a lot of water concerns. So to the extent that you keep that in mind as our discussions about, infrastructure around town go on, I think that'd be smart, keeping in mind. And if you're looking at a place that's on the Connecticut line, there is no water or sewer infrastructure there now, is that correct?
No.
No.
Okay, so just to be aware that that's going to be an issue that we'll have to address in later stages if we go forward with this.
Yeah, it's part of the survey questions, is understanding the ability to pull from Whitensville and to pull from Putnam.
I have another.
Okay.
There has been a study anyway of town-owned land, and it's been rated what it's, things that are good with it, things that are bad with it, because they did that study trying to find a place for the highway department, so that could be something that you could at least look at, that's already been
Definitely.
done.
So the zoning and infrastructure.
Well, it's zoning and what kind of, problems there would be in different parcels, right?
So you're thinking that they want to put it up on town-owned
I think
land?
that's what they're talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh.
It's part of-
Right over my head.
Yeah, that was
Oh.
ask number 2 after get buy-in is,
Well, I imagine
Look
this
for-
building would be twice as big as the highway barn. So whatever town-owned land.
40,000?
Again,
About
But
4
you don't
acres
need
is the typical.
you don't need the footprint because you don't have stockpiles of salt, sand, you just have parking in the building.
yeah, what was the building square footage, do you remember?
51,000?
Looked like
Yeah.
41,000,
Okay.
so
But
that's
you
just
will
under
need
an acre,
sewer, you
actually.
will need
of
parking,
Oh,
so
absolutely.
you've got to
Yeah.
include all that.
Well, that's what I'm
You
saying.
could
We've
put
already done a
a
study, you could
2-acre
see
lot easily.
what we do, whatever.
It could be done.
I'm thinking of the Elks.
The Elks.
What?
What's that, VFW, across from the common, next to the cemetery?
Oh, well, that was,
The entrance of the
The old,
soccer field.
the old
Yeah.
center school,
The old-
You're saying it was a 4-acre minimum, right?
that does not.
There's no sewer there, though. There is water, but there's no
There
sewer.
can be.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to include Emily and Sam if you've had any.
But it's a great idea to bring to the table, I think. Absolutely.
This is the first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so this would be run by the town? I mean, you're using town land.
No, it would, the town, I expect, would be essentially donating the land, and it would be run by the organization.
This is
That's
just
our-
a
we have a
preliminary
town
thought. We
wealth
haven't gotten to that
That's, yeah.
stage yet, but, yeah.
that way.
Well, that's one thing about the study, it shows the problems with each site.
And then the Buckeye, that's a whole nother
Well, that's
issue.
not going to happen with anything, right, from what we see.
Wow,
That's a
that
good
really
touch.
limits us.
But
for that.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure that I would tie it up on whether the town land is able to be donated or not. It's too early in this. There's demographics, there's other things that we'd have to figure out that are ahead of that, that would also help to figure out the value of it, and then
Well, you
drive
might
the
have
funding of it.
You might even have a generous resident who may donate some property.
Right.
maybe they would donate the price for the whole thing.
And in the example we looked at in Canada, they had an ice rink next door to it, so.
Another question, so would this be for just daily use, no overnight, or, I mean, I'm just, because about 15 years ago, there was somebody that came into town, they wanted to put a youth center in. I don't know if any of you people
I
remember
remember
this. Come to find out it was troubled youth, under 18, they were going to be housed, and
That was
instead of
about
going to
25 years
jail, instead of going to jail, they would be coming to Douglas,
Right.
and that didn't come out until the very end, and did not pass. So I want to make sure that this is just for daily use of
I expect that's the
Resident.
That's
answer.
the current thought,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any sleeping over and stuff in rooms and stuff like some of the Ys have.
No,
No,
yeah, that's in
no.
inner city.
Those are typically YMCA's, if
Yeah.
I'm,
So what is,
well, that's, yeah.
and this
so
would,
that's what that says, YMCA.
yeah,
No,
that's true, but I'm,
it's a different
it's a
title.
different organization.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Michael, oh, I didn't see you there.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to thank Ann and Judy for bringing this forward, you know. Appreciate that you have an idea, you want to share it with a group that's involved in planning, and, you know, we'll consider it. I think that's fair, right?
Sure, absolutely.
So, thank you.
All right,
Thank you
for
for
listening.
considering it.
You know, one of the things too is, depending on what type of grants and stuff, if you were building outside of the area of the water and sewer, perhaps you get a grant to bring water and sewer to another spot.
Exactly. Yep.
Although, being on finance committee, let me tell you something, we don't have any money.
No?
We don't have any money.
But it could be implemented into the master plan.
Right.
The new one, as a, developing a youth center.
Right. Well,
And then the implementation committee would work on that and give a,
Yeah.
see if it could be done.
but it would have to be done, it had to be, you'd have to get in grants and all kind of stuff. There's no way this town can afford it.
Absolutely.
But it would have to-
And so you have to make sure you did the right type of thing. And I don't
And the
think anybody,
location's important.
and anybody in town is rich enough to give you that kind of money, so.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about first steps, which is outreach and assessing need,
Yes.
which I think you talked about. Would be glad to do that. And you can always reach out to Matt. Matt, if you could give him our schedule, because you're welcome to attend any meeting in future, whether you want to discuss it or not, and we'll try to keep you in the loop.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
very much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Have you filled out the survey?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Matt has it, because we emailed him this.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think their emails are on the last
Thank
page,
you.
too.
Oh, it's on the
Yeah.
last page as well.
Judy and Dan's, yeah.
I think if there's enough membership to support,
I'm not stealing your check.
the survey would indicate that.
In order for the
Yes.
town to
Yep.
dispose of land, that's what you can't appropriate deal privately. Town land has to go to
I'm
auction.
dumpstering on 19 acres.
Scoop it up.
That's right.
Interesting. So,
And that's on the
It's
front
not easy
down.
disposing of town-owned
Yep.
land.
Right.
Utilities.
so Emily and Sam, you must have been very disappointed we didn't go right to you first for the Emily and Sam show. No? You get to sit back and listen for a change, right? Well, thank
I like
you.
their point too about like Putnam and it being kind of an anchor in Putnam because that's come up a lot in
Yes.
our discussions.
Yes.
Like kind of a model and they have a lot of desirable kind of houses in that town.
Help.
So that is definitely something we can consider as we're developing like that development chapter and open space and recreation.
Yeah.
Actually a recommendation.
And people were interested in a community center more towards the center of town. Like, because everybody was like, I mean, we had that question about Gleason Court.
I'm sorry,
And
could you
there's
speak
definitely-
up a little, please?
I was just saying, like, people were interested in having a community center more towards the center of town, and that does make sense to have it connected to all the resources that are already there. And, like, you know, maybe even making it like walkable to the community center. But, I mean, like the Gleason Court example, there's just not a lot of acreage there, so, you know.
Do they have mini Ys?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Just a few treadmills, very small pool.
There's a new person here. I'd like him to introduce himself. if that's okay.
Sure, please do.
Thanks. My name is Dan Mascroft, new resident to town. I lived in Uxbridge for quite a while, grew up in a small town, so attracted to the small town feel. So happy to be here. I missed the last meeting because of another commitment, but I saw what was going on with this master plan. Very interested, so thanks for having me.
Oh, you're interested in becoming a member?
Yeah,
How do you spell your last name?
MASCROFT.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Great, well, thank you. Usually the first step actually is to come and join us and to chat, and we can give him an application.
Yep.
Yeah, it's anything but dull, as opposed to most meetings.
Right.
We usually have pretty lively conversations.
Yeah, looking forward to
Okay.
it.
And Dan is not only a resident, he's a business owner in Douglas.
Oh, what's the business?
EcoGen, I would do electrical and solar, so
Oh, cool, okay.
it's a good time.
You're welcome.
I met Bob, so you live in town too, huh?
Yeah, I recognize it.
Right on. I see you.
Oh, excellent.
Okay, so I guess we can give an update maybe on the survey. We'll start with that. So we crossed the 700 respondents mark.
Yay.
We're up to 710, so that's another 40 or so, I think, from the previous meeting, so that's great. I know Sam has reached out to some of the churches. I've reached out to the newspaper newsletters. I haven't heard back from them yet, but hopefully I'll do some follow-up and see if we can get an article in some of the local and like regional newspapers. Trying to think what else. Are there any hard copies have you been to the library and noticed, oh, they need more hard copies there?
Their box is empty, and there are still hard copies there. I looked
Okay,
today.
so no one's, okay, so they're okay.
Empty.
Same,
But plenty
okay.
of copies.
Trying to think what else did we talk about? Dynamic Douglas, did anyone end up kind of posting again on that page to give them a reminder?
Gordon was going to take it, I think?
Dynamic Douglas?
Find out.
I did see a couple of pings regarding the survey. I thought you had put them in or something. No?
Not for that page. And we're gonna do another Facebook promotion. Probably put another, $50 or something.
I'll take one more since it came around.
So it'll show up in people's like news feeds.
Right.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what we talked about to really get the word out. Just to reiterate, it's gonna close at the end of January, so we do still have some time.
Is it January 31st? It's actually-
31st, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Any ideas how to get the word out or follow up?
The library is going to be starting a newsletter on January 1st where it just kind of gives what events are going on in town for the month. And it's including a community highlight and a municipal highlight, and I already included a little write-up about the master plan with a link to the survey and locations where the survey can be found, and that it'll be open until the 31st. And that'll be going out the beginning of January to emails that are attached to the library accounts.
Okay, awesome. Was the QR code included in that?
I'm not able to do it with the way the newsletters are done, because it's the email newsletters, so.
Oh, okay, but there's the link in there.
The link is in there, and it's double-checked it twice to make sure it worked, because I'm paranoid.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Okay, so sounds good. I think we'll just continue to see how results come in, and yeah, if you can think of any email lists or social media ways to get the word out, just continue to do that.
So you contacted newspapers?
Yep.
And were you going to just put in an ad or an article?
An article,
Okay,
so it was
good.
kind of describing like the background
Yeah.
of the master plan, And yeah, any details, you can take the survey using this link or pick up a hard copy, open till the January 31st, all that important stuff.
Send it again, make sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up tomorrow. And just see.
And you will write the article?
Yeah, I already did, and I already sent it over. I just haven't heard back, so we'll see.
Was it the Tribune, the Times, and the Express?
Yeah.
I can tell you that sometimes they don't bother responding. They'll just go ahead and throw it into the paper. When did you send them?
This week, yeah.
So the Tribune will probably hit either this Friday or next Friday. Did you send it by the 15th?
Yes, the 15th, or I was sick last week, so I didn't get it by the 15th or the 16th, so I was hoping.
The New Uxbridge Times might not make it because they do have a 12 o'clock on the 15th deadline. The Express should be in either the second, or the first or the second Friday of January.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll keep an eye out for that.
The Nextdoor app, and as far as social media goes, seems to be a pretty local, engaging forum. I don't know if it's good for articles and such, but it seems local and people seem to be pretty active on it.
What's it called, Nextdoor?
Nextdoor.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's like literally your little neighborhood, so it's,
Really?
yeah.
I'm not a resident, so I can't post on that, I don't think. So
What-
if anyone else
Is it just for Douglas?
No, it's all over,
Yeah.
but instead of posting something and it can go who knows where, it's, every neighborhood's going to have, it only has so much reach. So,
Geo fences?
something like that, yeah. You can see like a neighboring neighborhood, but it'd still be a smaller section of a town, really.
So you go on Facebook and type in Nextdoor, is that what you do?
No, it's a separate app, it's a
So
separate.
you'd almost need somebody for each section of town to post something.
Potentially,
Can you
yeah.
approach the adult, well, what's it, senior center, what do we call it?
Adult Social Center.
Adult Social Center with Patrice. She has a weekly mailing, I believe, or monthly?
Monthly.
Monthly.
I'll ask her about that, because they have a ton of hard copies, and I know a lot of the people that regularly go there took it online as well. But yeah, I didn't realize that they have a newsletter. So reach out to Patrice.
So I didn't know if you had any additional information regarding survey or,
I don't think so. I think that's all that I
Space.
really had for survey. I have a few other things I want to go over though, so I have some
Okay.
handouts.
I mean, are the town employees that work here, are they encouraged to get people to take a survey? It's like, here, while you're here, why don't you fill out the survey?
Yeah, I mean, it's open to residents, business owners, employees.
I mean, the employees of the town could promote
When people come in.
for people to take the survey when people are
Right.
coming through.
everybody here take the survey? Ross?
I have not.
At least you're
waiting, I'm just holding out. Yep.
Finally got.
January 31st at like 11:58, he'll be like, oh, I gotta take the survey.
Oh, I filled it out, I kind of got it on my,
It's after our open house. They
Yeah.
finally came.
So that is news. Linda finally got her postcard.
2 weeks after the open
Thank you.
house.
That's That's a good point, though. He was saying that we could encourage the town employees to promote the surveys in their own offices to the residents that come to visit them. Is there a way we can mail to each of the offices at once, like just letting them know that, or asking them to do that? Is there anyone that has access to
Matt probably would have been the
Matt.
person to
Yeah.
view it.
Is he coming back?
I would
Yeah,
think
you
so.
can just
His
hand them out.
phone
You can go to
averages.
the town clerk, the selectman, the building department, and the
Board of Health.
Board of Health. Those are the people that get the numbers.
Assessor's office.
Yep, the assessor's office.
Tax collector.
No one goes there.
Every office down this hall.
Every
Not
office.
many people stop in to
Good
see
idea,
the
yeah.
town accountant.
Right outside the town
Michael?
clerk's office, I
Hey,
think,
Mike,
would be the best
how does
place.
5 o'clock
But if
work
you
for
got
you?
into each one, like
not so good.
Which is where the tax collector.
I really wanted to touch base with you, but it wasn't happening.
Like Dan's saying, bring it
Just tape it right to the thing. It's like, yeah, I can help you. While I help you, take the survey real
They
quick.
go into an office, say, hey, or tell them, fill out the survey. That's
Do it while they're doing the work for
End
them.
of the discussion.
Correct.
That's true. I did spend some time on it. Yeah.
Did
Please
anything
give us
happen with
some
the
feedback,
tax,
No, I didn't know if it was going to be a conflict with what.
with the real estate taxes? Weren't we talking about trying to put a flyer into that? Do we know if anything happened with that?
Totally forgot to look into that.
It's too late now.
No, yeah,
So we'll just ping.
Yeah, they wouldn't get the survey back in time.
No.
Because they come right around the first of the year, they send it to receive your tax bill.
Oh, so if the issue is that we wouldn't get the survey back in time,
I meant like in the actual envelope with the tax
Well, that's what
bill.
I'm saying, but by the time you get it, it's after the first of the year.
But we go
No.
to the 31st of January.
Are we going to the 31st?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they should get a little flyer put in. But
It's
I don't
too
know
late
if-
now.
I don't know if they get generated here or they
They
get
don't.
generated
They don't, and
somewhere
they've
else.
already been generated, because I received the email.
Okay.
All right.
I got the depressing email.
I guess, okay, so moving forward, we were going to talk about, I think we had mentioned a little bit about the town tour at the previous meeting. So I had just drafted up kind of a list of stops that would be important for Sam, I, and maybe one of the members of the committee, and maybe Matt, kind of to go on a town tour. So basically, the idea is for us to kind of make like a face-to-face like meeting with some of the local leaders and municipal employees in town, talk about the importance of the master plan, and just kind of get their contact information. Afterwards, we're going to be, in the kind of subsequent month, we're going to be holding interviews with these staff members. So we just want to kind of, just see when is a good time for them to be interviewed, and just really kind of make that introduction. And it's also important for, Sam and I to really get to know the town. I know we've been coming to the town hall a lot, but we haven't seen a lot of the rest of the town, so.
I have a question, Emily. So is it better for you to go to them and talk to them one-on-one? Or would it be easier for you if you can go to those venues if you need to, but get a bunch of them here together and talk to them all at once? I don't know if that
Yeah,
would be
that's
helpful.
definitely an option. So we kind of formulated it as like, we would go to the different stops, but it is an option too if it's easier to get everyone in a room, at one time. That might be hard with people's schedules. So,
It's been done,
yeah.
but whatever works for you and them, of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
the other benefit of going around to the locations is that they can point to physical issues that are around them. And we also get to on the town tour, we get to see the sites, all the different locations in town. And then we, of course, after the, did you already explain this? The interviews afterwards?
Briefly, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So those would be held either, it would be by the CMRPC staff, would be either calling or video chatting, or just going to Douglas, whatever is easiest for the town staffer, to kind of sit down and have like maybe a 45-minute, half an hour conversation, just really digging deep into like what their role is, what the strengths are of the town, what works well, what the issues are, what the opportunities are, just really pick their brain and get their insight.
What's a good day for you?
So this will probably be in January.
Signing up?
No, I work with some of these departments. have
Okay.
them. So
Yeah, maybe that would
as
be good
I
to have
talk
you.
with them on a daily basis, I can introduce them to you
Yeah.
for what you're up to.
Bob can be
So
your guide.
he would host.
Your
Yeah.
private tour guide.
Serious.
Yeah, a docent.
I don't recommend somebody.
Douglas
that-
Dawson.
Take tips, though. I accept tips.
Someone who lives in town,
One of the things
retired.
about this, which
Maybe we
is
could even
great,
get the bus to try.
except you're still only seeing a little bit of our town. But really, I don't think you have any idea what our town really is, because you haven't been here. You've been this little thing. You haven't seen the things that we really have. You've been up to the state forest,
That's what
or
they're saying.
Wallen Lake, or the reservoir, or even tonight when you leave, instead of taking a right and going to 146, when you get to the end of Depot Street, take a left. just go maybe 2 miles. You're going to see our town common lit up like you can't believe, with the Congregational Church. It's so New England, it's unbelievable. It's just worth the ride just to see that. But these are the things that if you really want to get a feel for our town, you've got to see more than, again, you're in this little, less than a 2-mile geographic area here with this. You've got to see the whole town. You've got to get a feel for what this town is. Town is different than a lot of towns that you've been in.
If you head towards Webster, you'll be driving 5 miles through the forest.
Right.
Which is just trees.
Right.
Get to the Webster line, hit 395, and where you heading, Auburn, Worcester? Right up 395.
I think, like,
Take a different route back, but you'll be going by the fire station, the highway department, the town common.
this approach to the town tour is we're trying to get a holistic perspective of the town. Like, we would be driving down to, like, the state forest entrances, like, or if there's like a scenic view along the way. I don't think we could go on a hike that day.
No, but they have a beach there and their offices there. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'd be open to letting you in.
Yeah, that was one of the questions that I had, is if we have time to kind of incorporate some of those, like, really important cultural spots, scenic vistas, orchards, open spaces.
How do you feel about going down a water slide?
In January? Bring your sled.
Does they still have the arcade there? Is the arcade gone? I went there when I was a kid.
What's that?
The arcade at the water
Slide.
It's still there?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, glad to see that's still there.
Yeah, 'cause, just one more, another important part of this is just for us to kind of flag some places, because we're going to come back in the spring with our photographer, who's going to take pictures for the plan as well. So we want to make sure we know what spots to send her to, and she also has a drone where she can take drone photography, so we want to like set her up for all the good spots to go to.
So fair warning, our cartographics guy is going to be using a drone on, I think, Monday, and he had to let the chief of police and the town administrator know because of everything that's going on.
Oh.
In case they're about to
Yeah.
get called. So just fair warning on that.
Hopefully it'll blow over by then.
Yeah, hopefully.
Through the chair, one question I'm going to throw out there. With so much state forest, should DCR be involved with any of this stuff?
That's why I say, let them, give them a call.
Have them involved with some, I mean, there's a
That's a
lot.
third of our town.
Is all DCR.
Yeah.
Is there improvements that can be worked together with the master plan and DCR? And maybe have grants with DCR to help with the master plan?
Yeah.
It helps the town, but also involves the state. with
Helps them too,
DCR.
that's correct.
Oh, yeah, this
I mean, we haven't talked to DCR at all. How?
Right.
And everything is, they're everywhere. Long Lake, everything
Yeah,
is
right,
DCR.
exactly.
Why aren't they involved helping with the parking for the state parks off the roads, or where the horses are, all that kind of stuff? Instead of just us, get them involved, and who knows, they might fit the bill.
The OSRP also makes you guys applicable for a lot of DCR grants too.
What does?
The OSRP, the Open Space and Recreation Plan. That gives you access to a bunch of the DCR grants.
Yep. It was finalized last year.
Yeah.
But they've got to know that we want,
Right.
Yeah, we could reach out to
how
them.
can we help you, how can they help us?
I have a question. Does the reservoir, with it being, it's owned by the association now, right?
Right.
Is that somebody that needs to be talked to with the master plan? Does any of that ever come into play?
It's a watershed association?
Whiten Reservoir Watershed District.
It's a watershed district, I'm part of it.
I'm just wondering if it plays into being, because it's the residents around the res,
Right. Well,
if it becomes a different, because it's not technically fully town.
right, it's, you know what it is, I'll tell you what exactly it is. We are a municipality within a municipality.
Quasi.
Yeah, we had to get, we had to get the blessing of the state and everything else to start it, and so we have the ability to tax.
I just
So we
want,
can tax, we have to do town meetings, the same as we have here. They have to do all the same things you have to do with the town and stuff. And that's one of the things we have the ability to tax. And if we didn't have that ability, we have to maintain the dam and everything. You say, oh, just send us your money. You think we'd see any? No.
I just
So we
wondered
need
if
the
it should,
ability to tax.
if it should be part of the conversation.
Like as if the town could put a beach there.
Or just to have them,
At the table,
yeah, like,
at the meetings?
I just didn't know whether or not, I mean, we're talking about stepping outside of downtown Douglas. Well,
Right,
the res is
right.
part of that outside
Right.
of downtown Douglas.
Well, the other thing too is part of that land, state forest owns
Well,
land right up against it as well.
That's why I
Yeah.
wondered if they should be part of the
I
conversation.
can, my son is the
DCR.
accountant for the association, and he goes to all of the meetings. I don't go to the meetings, they don't seem like they're too exciting. So I will tell him, and he can get a hold of the president of the association.
So, Mr. Chair, would we want to make a motion to engage DCR on a more regular basis? I don't know how we officially reach out to them, but where they own, what, a third of the town? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's reasonable that we reach out and
Yeah.
see if we can get a
Okay.
DCR point.
Do you need a motion to do that, or we'll just?
I think let's make one.
No.
No, that's
Yeah, by consensus?
by consensus, sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And-
whose job is that? Matt, you're going to do that?
All right, I don't mind.
I have the contact of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll share that with Emily and... Sure.
And through the chair, with the res, I think Manchog is the same.
No, Manchog is.
There's a great
the town
pond.
Of Sutton owns the dam. They don't tax
Okay,
anyone.
Sutton owns the
Yeah, they
dam.
don't have a municipality within the
I didn't know if
municipality
they
like we do.
did it. They were thinking about it, and then they didn't do it.
Right, because the
or-
town ended up.
They have an
accepting it.
association, but it's not quasi.
Yeah, right, and they can't tax it or anything like we can.
But if it would be helpful to circle back, if we do have a DCR rep and you connect with them, they might be able to give you a
Yep.
more informative tour. Hitting
Yeah,
that, you know.
because on the second page, we have a list of key stakeholders that we want to interview, so I think that would be a great person to add.
We may, Mr. Chair, we may find that we have somebody from DCR who lives in town,
Yes,
who could be engaged more directly with it.
Right, yes.
and let them in to tour the facility.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we run-
Good suggestion. Mike.
What about historic sites? Do we need to coordinate for you to, is that something that would be on your list, short list, long list, no list?
Yeah, I,
Yeah, probably towards the end of that first. They
It is-
have,
it is-
Scenic vistas, so that could be historical.
Yeah, part of our cultural resource too, you know.
yeah, definitely, and so, yeah, if there's any spots you think, I could jot them down now, spots we should stop at. So we said the water slides.
Historical sites,
Well, the junk store. And I think too, that are sort of the poor children that are beautiful buildings, and almost 200 years old, are the first and second Congo churches. Like,
honestly, all of the Douglas Center area.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
up by the Common, that entire area. Don't forget Soldiers Field. You've got the two mills, Hayward Landing, and then the old Schuster Mill.
And then the one that's made into
I would think so.
apartments.
That's Hayward
Down
Landing.
behind- No, no, down behind
The Lovett Mill,
Stakeholder.
the Lovett Mill.
Yeah.
Can we go to that one, or is it just like residential?
It's residential, but I don't know. I know Hayward Landing, you can go into the lobby, and they've got a lot of pictures and stuff from the original mill and stuff. I don't know if Lovett Mill did anything similar to that. All of the first part of North Street's called the Lower Village, and that was all of the mill housing. You've got what's currently the Sokol Hall was the old Methodist church.
Sokol Hall, excuse me, sorry. Sokol Hall was a church?
Yep,
Yeah.
it was Old Methodist Church, and then Schuster ended up with it, and then it was the GAR, then Schuster ended up with it, and that's how the Sokols got it.
We should have one of our meetings there.
Amen, sister.
You've got the,
Water
get
and
a
wine,
witness.
so.
then you've got the.
See, you never know where these meetings are going to go.
All in.
But you've got those, if you want, I can kind of put together a list of the different, like the main kind of buildings and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely things we would want to get photos of in the spring. It's a little nicer out. Yeah.
Is there an active NIMUC group in town? No. Okay.
There's
And
not.
if what?
Nipmuc.
Indian group.
No,
Indian, yeah.
I don't
There's a
think
band in Webster, Douglas
there is a
area.
Webster, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I was on the planning board one time, many years ago, and there was one lot actually on a street I live on, and there was an Indian burial ground, and somebody was developing this A&R lot. We had the Nipmuc Nation in our meeting room, that small meeting room over there, wall to wall. The Nipmuc Nation came in, they wanted to make sure they had access to that burial ground.
Is it still protected? Or no?
Yes.
I would
Yeah,
think
we
so.
should
Okay.
put that on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we'll learn something.
Do you
I mean, I've
remember
never seen it, but they said it was just stones.
I know there's a gentleman at the Thompson Historical Society that is very interested in all the sites in the area, and I think he might have a list of,
Jeff Stefanik?
no, Joe Imartino. And I know he might have some of the ones, he actually stopped to visit the archives, so he might have some ideas of where there are some in Douglas. I'll poke him and see if he's got any more information for me.
Okay.
What about
We
Castle
have Hiram
Caves?
Walker's
Oh,
birthplace.
well,
If you can get to
Was
it,
guy.
right?
now town-owned, right?
Well, the access to it is through,
Brown Road.
it's off of, got the Castle Court, there's private property that Pam and Gary Carter own. We'd likely get consent from them easily, actually.
Don't we have a right-of-way through there, easement?
Technically, we do, but the guy sticks his dogs on you.
Have you been down there, Carol?
I have, on Brown Road, I wouldn't exactly.
So you can still
I
run?
wouldn't say he sticks
Yeah.
dogs on you, but you know you're not wanted.
But
Put some
the question
treats in your
about
pocket next time.
Nipmuc, Mr. Chair, is this would be a moment to make sure we include the Indian history to the extent we can identify it and pick up any site. I mean, I think it's a moment to maybe include that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'll
I
see.
mean, Rebecca, there wasn't anything in the Lucius Marsh about Indian.
No, but we do have a couple of other resources that there is stuff there. Then, do you guys remember the Douglas Herald that was in the 90s?
Yeah.
Little Turtle, I think that was his name. And almost everyone wrote an article that talked about the history in the area at the time. So I've also got those articles, so I can pull that type of stuff and see if I can find anything about the history from that. Like I said, Marsh didn't have a lot, but I do have a few resources that I can pull.
Have those been scanned? Can you share them digitally, or?
I'd have to rescan them. They didn't scan very well the first time I did them for somebody, so I'd have to scan them again, but it's not going to be a difficult scan. It was more just, I did it quickly, so it wasn't as clean as I wanted them to be.
Any other resources we can recommend, suggest?
Alternatively, if there's any like areas that have particular challenges or kind of unsafe things we want to flag in the master plan as well, I think it'd be worthwhile to see those areas as well.
Parking lot across from the mill.
They just opened that up, so
Yeah. So people can go use it now.
we own it, but the mill has exclusive use of it.
I often think that's pretty interesting. Because we took it for taxes, but they have use to it. I'm thinking I'm going to put my house in my kid's name. I'm going to put a thing on my deed that my kids can use my house in perpetuity, and then I'm going to stop paying my taxes. Because if they can park on it forever without paying taxes, I think that's what we all have to do, everybody.
I think the reason is, and I'll refer to Mike and Meg on this, for planning board, for so many square feet of building, you need X amount of parking spaces, right? There's not enough on their side of the street, so to fulfill that requirement, they need exclusive use of that parking lot.
Yeah, what are you talking about, what spot?
The Gilboa Mill, 120 Gilboa Mill.
Oh, the one across from the weed place?
Yes. I think that's true, from what you're saying, yeah.
Right.
They need some response.
But then why does the town have to provide it for them? Want to make more parking on their side of the street? They got a lot of land.
Exactly.
There's something fishy about that.
They really do not have land. Every square foot is either building or parking lot right now.
They don't have any land behind?
That's a different property owner now.
Well, you know what, but I still say, it just doesn't seem right that someone is not paying taxes, and just because somebody put something on there, we took it for back taxes and they get exclusive thing. Every one of us could do that to our own properties.
Unless it's written in the deed.
We'll write it in the deed and then stop paying taxes.
So just circle back if we could. We were talking about dangerous areas. Maybe it's less dangerous now.
What's it?
You can park there.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, I don't think that people from town should be excluded from using it. People want to go there, they want to go fishing, because that's what a lot of people said, they were all glad it was open, because a lot of people like to fish off of there. So I don't think they should be excluded from using it. It's town-owned property, if they want to go there and fish, they should be able to.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Can we cordon off a few spots for residents?
We had so many dreams for that place.
I like the idea, what was it, the walk like Northbridge did?
Riverwalk.
I really liked that idea. That was one of my most favorite.
Was it dangerous?
No.
Then we have to move on. It was.
Crossing Main Street.
Any other?
Across Main Street.
I was going to say Route 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as dangerous stuff, I mean, going, and I don't know all my street names yet, but I think it's Depot Street by all the apartments and that small bridge that crosses
Oh,
that
yeah,
river.
yeah, yeah.
I've seen people just not pay attention for 1 second and slam that concrete slab and, you know.
Where is this?
North Street Bridge.
North Street,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Before you
narrow
think-
bridge, yeah.
Yeah, the narrow
Yes.
bridge. I mean,
No
I think-
sidewalks
It's
on it.
narrow.
Oh, near the water sewer.
Yeah.
I mean,
So the
I
North
think they
Street
should be
Bridge.
rebuilt
That
a
is-
little bit wider, so it's a legit,
And people
If you're not paying
different
attention,
stop
yeah.
at that
We
four-way.
look
They
at that,
yeah.
the cost, everything, we could have everything, but we just don't have the money, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Would that
And
be
it's
a town
beautiful
thing or a
stone
state
arch
thing?
bridge,
No, it's town,
if they
Really?
could widen it.
I know.
It's timeless, yeah. Imagine the weight that goes over that. It still withstands it.
Right.
Any other dangerous or anything we want to identify in that particular category in town?
Causeway.
Yeah, that is.
It's pretty narrow.
And there's no guardrails.
And you get people who don't know the rules. You stop and let the other car go.
Exactly.
Nothing worse
Every
than
now
that.
and then you get that fool that's coming through.
Yeah, try backing up.
Yeah, right, even worse.
I think going up the hill towards the highway department, I think there's a large section that doesn't have any sidewalks either. I don't think you
Oh, yeah.
can walk from here to there.
No,
And
you can't.
it
can't
would
walk very
cost
lot.
millions to put in
Right,
sidewalks.
because we've looked into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was on
think-
town meeting a few years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lots of money.
Going up the hill where?
Millions.
For a sidewalk?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to, you
On
can't
Main
just throw them in, you got to
Street, about-
engineer
You gotta
everything.
do, you gotta do drainage.
Drain.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm at 163
We were
Main
just
Street
looking
and it
to go
stops just
from
before Franklin
where the
Street.
sidewalk
Okay.
ends,
The
so
sidewalk
before
ends
Franklin
there.
Street, Up over Franklin Street, and not that far up, and it was like 2 or 3 million.
They just got the
Yeah, how
water.
far up was it going? It wasn't even, it certainly wasn't going.
I don't even think it went a mile.
You might as
No,
well
not
run
even,
sewer
no, less,
while you're
a lot
at
less than that, yeah.
But you see people walking along Route 16
Yeah, right up to
there.
GBI, I think,
Yeah.
where they got those
It's
models.
really
To
dangerous.
water, sewer, paving, sidewalks, 650.
Yeah, so what else do we have then for
Yeah,
categories?
Okay, so I think that looks good for the town tour destinations. We'll continue to kind of work with Matt for scheduling like a date for it. Again, it'll be sometime in January, ideally before our next January meeting, which I think is January 22nd. So we'll try to get it in those first kind of few weeks in January, so that we can then bring our findings or summaries to that meeting.
And if any of the members happen to think of something, anything else, is it okay for them to ping you? Yeah, okay, thank you. And Matt?
So then that will be followed by stakeholder interviews. So on the second page, I've started kind of a list of people that we want to speak with. These are kind of like the positions from other towns that we've spoken with before, town administrator, library director, council on aging director, et cetera. But are there any others you think that are kind of missing from this list, people who would be really knowledgeable about the town? Yeah, even people on the committee too. I mean,
Well, he's
I know-
economic development.
Yeah, economic development.
And again, these are the interviews that, like, these can be scheduled at any time in January into
Yeah, between January and February.
February, yeah, and they're between primarily the chapter author and the person. We might sit in on some of them,
Yeah.
but
Another interview you'll want is Shirley Mazinski, Chair of the Buildings, Facility, and Construction Committee. Her knowledge is endless about this town. The
BFCC Chair, Shirley.
What is it, building?
Building and facilities.
BFCC.
It's the CNC.
Building and Facilities Construction
Chair.
Committee. To look at buildings.
OCZ,
CZYNSKI, I think.
MO.
MOS.
I spelled it like I say it.
YNSKI.
And if I write it, I can
I think
do
I
it,
got
but I can show it others.
How about the town clerk?
It's not spelled like it sounds.
Helpful with this information?
Probably, yeah.
And that's the first person
mean,
you
Chris
walk in,
knows
and they say, where can I find this and that, and why don't you have it?
He's currently out on
Okay.
There
leave,
it
but
is, there's Lisa.
at
MOS,
some point,
MOSCY.
Perhaps a representative from the Reservoir District.
I'll try to get some. I have the chairman's.
I could get his name and telephone number for you. I don't even think he lives in Douglas, frankly.
He doesn't,
No.
yeah, but he's only involved because he grew up here. He
Right.
knows a lot about it, so.
But he lives there.
Yep.
I mean, he has property there,
Yep.
cottage.
Would Board of Health be like a key stakeholder? Just thinking of boards who vote on things.
Do you have a copy of the town book, the annual town book?
I know the
Because that lists all the committees, commissions, boards. I'll see if I can find one for
I
you.
have one from 2022.
Public Works.
That's the most recent one. They have at least 2023.
They haven't yet? Okay.
2023 hasn't been released.
Another pandemic.
Yeah, suggest you get
Highway
the
Department.
Public Works
Adam's on
Department. Adam,
You mean water sewer?
yeah, water sewer
That-
specifically.
Yeah,
That's
that'd be Bob Sullivan.
Separate from Adam Furno, okay, yeah.
Bob Sullivan's water and sewer.
Yeah.
Water sewer, Bob Sullivan.
Yeah, let me know when that one is, because I'll be there with them.
Okay.
What about the Recreation Committee?
There's a recreation committee?
There is a Recreation Committee.
No, sorry.
The
just
Historic
hang out pretty
Commission's,
low-key.
Historic Commission's trying to get in touch with them right now, actually.
Yeah, the open space chapter, we always talk to the Recreation Committee if they have one.
It's active, recreation.
Yep,
And the Historic Commission.
that's me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that needs to
I
be
know,
on our
it should be
list.
on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt's going to see if he can get you the most recent town book and all the boards, committees, commissions are listed in that. That might be helpful.
Historic.
I think they're right out the door. I think,
2019 and 2020.
really?
You're welcome to them.
All right. You couldn't, you had to keep them there. You couldn't have like moved them down.
Town book is
I suppose
on-
you'll still list all the committees, commissions, and boards, right? They haven't changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're planning to hold these over a couple of months to give people time, one for scheduling with the meeting of the list that we have made, and in case there are new meetings that come up, or like new people that we want to meet with that have come about through our discussions with other people, then it gives them time to sort of expand on their list for the different chapters.
And we'll have kind of a script of questions as well that we'll be giving our staff who are holding these interviews, just to kind of guide them and kind of the information that we're looking for that will be useful for the plan. Great.
Quick question, Emily. First page is town tour destinations.
Yes.
Second page, stakeholder interviews.
Yep.
Fire department, can you do both?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I missed them.
Same with all the others.
Highway,
Yeah, oh,
highway
no, fire.
department, you can do the
Yeah,
next
so
door
I
to one.
guess the idea for the tour is kind of just more of like an introduction, so we won't be sitting down and having these formal interviews during the town tour, because we're trying to pack in a lot of these. But we just want to introduce ourselves, say what we're working on, why the master plan is really important, just get any contact information, who's the best person to, talk to, and when is a good time for them to talk. Do they prefer on the phone? Do they prefer for one of us to come at a certain day and speak in person. So just kind of getting that face-to-face. And also seeing the building that they're working in, if there's any structural issues, parking issues, accessibility, handicap accessibility, things like that, we also want to see and kind of be aware of and take pictures of.
So based on that, I don't know that I would go health department or committee, but you might want to look at the transfer station itself.
That's Board of Health.
But I'm saying like the transfer
Yeah.
station and whoever it is running it, more than necessarily the Board of Health, but the actual transfer station and the guys that run it.
They work for the Board of Health.
Right.
They are
do a good
hired.
job up there.
No, I'm just saying they're
For
definitely.
the town tour, it's good to stop at.
Yeah, as far as site visit, yeah.
Another one we need of stakeholders is the schools. I don't see schools on here
There it is,
anywhere.
public schools.
Where? Oh, right there, sorry about that.
Yeah, I guess the superintendent would probably be best to speak with, but if he wants to delegate to the principals too, I'm happy to speak with them.
Business manager.
Or is there a facilities director or something?
Oh, maybe.
Because
Yes.
with that aspect, each principal would know their own school.
Yeah, and we
Each
have
building.
3, but
Whereas, right, you get the real nitty gritty,
4
go to the people that run the
Facilities.
building.
superintendent.
Right, we have
You know,
4
each
buildings.
principal of each school knows their school.
Right.
Superintendent might know the overview, but
Right.
each principal will know each school, I would think.
I think that's one of the things, too, that we have to see is, how much capacity do we have in our schools and stuff.
Well, I looked into that, and
Yes.
Carol, you were right. 100%. I know. In 2010, we had 1,771 students, public
Right.
school. 2024, we had 1,160. We're down 611 students.
611.
That's a lot.
What's the
The
capacity?
percentage is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Down a
so,
third, yeah.
but this is just our public school, that, I don't think they're taking into account Valley Tech, or
Right,
kids are
right.
going to the
Yeah.
Whitensville Christian School, or another Norfolk Aggie.
Yeah.
It's just who we have in our
Yeah,
school.
we dropped a lot.
Does
Yeah.
BBT play into the master plan?
No, not yet.
Okay, I just didn't know like if the relationship with BBT played into it or not. I never know how
The
that,
last one wasn't.
I never know how that relationship,
Blackstone Valley Tech.
Yeah.
I never know how
It's a
that relationship,
vocational school, yeah.
how that relationship plays into
Well, we
different.
pay
Almost
for
went
it,
there.
Well, that's why I wondered if it,
but I thought I'd bring that up.
Oh, okay.
What's the
Now we're down even more percentage.
What's the capacity?
Oh, I have no idea.
Capacity must be.
You say we're down
Well,
600.
in
That's year over-
2010, we had almost 1,800.
And that's when we built the schools,
Yeah.
then or before, so the capacity must be
30%.
for that amount, but now we're down 600 kids. How many classrooms is that, if you figured it by classrooms?
So, yeah.
Well,
kids
small
per
classroom size is
But like I
often
said, it
better.
could also be going, maybe 50 kids are going to Valley Tech.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
It's not just Douglas. Every place is losing population. People are not having children. They're just not.
Well, I did my part, I have 5 kids.
In 2013, they opened the intermediary school,
Okay.
or the intermediate building, sorry, at which point the old elementary became primary.
Right.
You had the elementary / intermediate, then you had the middle, then you had the high school.
So you know what we were built for? We were built for at least that 1,700.
Yep, so that was, as 2013 is when was when the last of the buildings went in.
And that's when the population started
Right.
really
But at
going.
least we've got to make sure they maintain those buildings.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to build
Those are $5,
buildings for a
right?
long.
We have to make a profit.
But they're 4 years old. $2?
All right, $2.
A BOGO, buy one, get one.
So where are we?
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about the schools who to talk to, and we had discussed kind of some capacity issues, which we'll definitely bring up in the interviews as well, just asking about, yeah, class sizes, downturn in enrollment.
Yeah, see what they have to say.
That I'm very curious,
If
yeah.
it's, because kids are school choicing out, or
Yeah.
is this really?
Right.
Yeah.
And,
Just behind it.
that was a lot of the things when people came through on the, the little party that we had down in the gymnasium. So many of them came through and said, it's a known fact that every house that produces 2.5 children and everything else, it was a known fact 25 years ago. It's not a known fact now.
What's a half a child?
Yeah, less than, really, less than half it. But the average house has 2.5 dogs now.
What is
Hey,
that?
priorities.
Just curious how the costs of the decline in a population has tracked with the with the population. How's the cost gone down? Has it gone down? since-
Housing costs?
No, school.
No, it's gone up.
It's gone the other way.
Budget is, I think, 3/4 of the town's budget is the school.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The whole budget.
Yep.
Right. On a declining student population? That sounds odd.
Yeah.
Administrative costs are going through
Right,
the
it's
roof.
opposite.
Well, a lot of
Yeah.
the stuff that the state mandates is what's killing us, you know. We get the adjustment counselors and stuff. When I went to school, we had an adjustment counselor. Mr. Sabolinsky put the boys up against the wall. They were adjusted.
So since the last school went up, the population in town has only gone up about 200 people.
Really?
Since when?
Since 2013, when the last school went up. This is as of the 2022 annual report. In 2013, the population was 8,535. 2022, 8,731.
But aren't we like 9,000 something now?
I'm just saying, this was as of the annual report in 2022, so I don't know what
Over
the,
9,000 now.
About 9,200.
Yeah, like
I think it's like just barely.
9,027.
92, 9,300.
I don't know why 9,000.
what, per the town fence, oh,
Yeah, we know we're over 9 grand. That's already, we talked about.
so that means we grew 300 in the last 2 years.
Believe it.
I think during COVID, there was an increase in house sales. I think a lot of people were coming out to more rural areas.
Right.
Buying properties. It drove
That's-
prices up.
Kind of why I feel this committee is pretty important to bring up what people want to see in this town, because if we don't pay attention, I can see a mass exodus with what people want. If people don't like what they're seeing that's going to happen, they're going to leave. They came here to a rural town to be in a rural town, not to be in a Quincy or anything like that. They came here for woods and birds and squirrels and river walks and so this whole master plan is very important to pay attention to.
And therein lies the paradox, because they want us to increase housing and housing density. So you increase density in one area while trying to, we've talked about this in planning, while trying to retain that rural feel outside of the downtown area.
But if you're putting up grocery stores and all kinds of restaurants and all of that, well, now you're taking away from that rural.
That's what these people want to see, though.
But that's what they said.
That's
they want
why
a
I'm
grocery
saying we
store.
got to pay attention.
It depends
It's
where it's
a,
at. That's what we
correct.
need. You can have what you want.
Correct.
It depends where it's at.
Yes.
Because, like I said, I was the last table of the thing, and everybody was like, oh, we like the small town, we don't want much to change. But then you come here and I hear everybody's like, well, no, they want this, this, and this, and I'm like, but by the time they got to me, they said they wanted none of it. They wanted everything to stay as it was.
so I'm just,
Yeah, so it-
exactly, and I'm just saying we got to pay attention to our feedback.
Well, who is these people trying to increase the population density in certain areas? Who are these people?
Increase, where you getting that?
Demand
I
for
thought you
housing.
just said,
No, the state recently
Yeah.
passed the
The mandates.
Affordable Homes Act, and they want you to increase housing.
Right.
So we talked about, should we try to adjust the zoning so that you can increase the housing density downtown with multi-use property, some of the older buildings. Also, what's happened is that the state has, through this law, said that they, every single-family home can build one unit of accessory apartment or accessory house,
Right.
either attached or detached by right. Used to be by permit, and it was, for an elderly parent or caregiver. Now it's for anybody, and that's okay. But that is actually going to stand to increase density outside of the downtown area,
Right.
in those lots that are really zoned for one house
right.
currently. So that's the balance. I think that's what Roy's talking about, how you retain that rural feel while, adhering to the law.
And there's no pushback we can have as a town ordinance? Like, we don't have domain over our own backyard?
No, not on that
And this is where
particular,
it comes down to the vote in the
By
state.
right.
It's a mandate. You can't change it.
by
And it's
right.
not just for the downtown area, it's
Everywhere.
town-wide, even in
Whole state.
RA.
Whole
The
state.
whole state.
The whole state,
I don't
whole
care
state.
what
it's not just our town, right, it's every town, yeah.
With a minimum lot size, I'm sure, right?
No.
No.
Really?
If it fits within the boundaries, you can build it.
But there's a maximum house size, was it
There is.
600? 900?
Plus, there's
Yeah, addition size.
property setbacks and stuff for structures.
Yes, you have to, correct.
There's still site plan review.
Yeah.
There are some, and we had to.
For now,
we had
it
to-
might
yeah,
change.
Yeah, through Matt, we had to quickly change the zoning, get it through town meeting.
Really?
Because this thing goes into effect February.
Right.
And you'd be able to do multiples if you have the land for it.
Yeah, it's by special permit.
Yeah, I mean, because I agree with this gentleman completely, that, if we're over 9,000 people now, it's like, is there a goal here? Are we trying to get to 12 or something? Because,
The thing is,
I think,
on a mandate, you can't change it, that's the problem.
Right.
yeah.
You can't do anything about it. If you do, you take them to court and you lose.
One of the things too, though, about doing keeping the rural feeling is, and I know that we have it in our bylaws where you can do, you can put things closer together and then leave some open space. But it's not economically feasible. I guess what I'm saying is that people would rather have this single lot, okay? So that's what the builders are gonna build. They're gonna build what they can sell and make a profit at. But if you sweetened up the pot a little more, maybe gave one more house in this area than what you can do now. Well, now you kind of, the builders go, well, you know what, maybe this one will work. Okay, so now instead of you having to pay $600,000 for your house, we can sell your house for $525,000. Wow, so but then, so you get this more open space instead of the ticky-tack, every 200 feet, there's a house, every 2 acres, there's a house. Well, instead, you put these houses together, you build a neighborhood, which is what you used to have years ago, where you knew your neighbors because they were over there, you could talk to them, you could sit on the front porch, wave to them when they went by, stuff like that.
Borrow a cup of sugar.
But then you still leave all the open space.
We do have that.
We do, but
It's a flexible development bylaw.
But the thing, what I'm saying is, you have to sweeten up that pot. It's not
We
being
do have
used.
open space,
But
so
who
instead
are
of
using it?
having to have 2 acres,
Right.
you can do it
Is
of
it-
1 acre.
Is it being used?
Yes, we have one development.
One develop, exactly.
But then they backed out, or planning board said they didn't have to have one that was for low income.
Right, right.
But we are going to be getting some open space land with that.
But if you want, maybe we should, as a group, investigate it. Investigate how we could promote that. That's all. I'm not saying we're changing it.
This is-
It's on the books.
It's on the books, but nobody's using it.
That's
Why
right.
is nobody using it?
So-
That's what you have to look at.
And I'm gonna rebuttal on it.
Yeah.
That's why you come out here, you want the open space, you want your own lot. And who says you're gonna like your neighbor? So you put everybody together, you have a whole area of people fighting and arguing every day. So the idea is the way it is now, you have your space, you have your lot, you have your home, and you fight.
But you know what? That's
what the people are saying in this.
Well, 2 acres doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
Right,
Because the
I'm just
side
saying.
yard setbacks are
Right. Instead of
25 feet.
being stacked on top of each other.
And they've got all
Yeah,
this woods
yeah.
they don't use, so.
But I think your comments all the comments have merit, but I think if any committee's going to look at it, it's going to be us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So the flexible
Anybody's-
development, I think it was only used once, and it's been on the
Very
books for
rarely used,
15
yeah.
years.
It's
Very
not,
used.
you have to find out, why isn't it being used? Okay? How could you get it to be used? Okay, so that's it.
That's the planning board is the one that issues those permits.
We were hearing in Leicester, slightly different kind of development, but like mixed use. That we've heard through the grapevine that developers are saying the 3-story thing with the residential units, and then like a retail on the bottom, it's way less economically feasible than just stacking another unit on top. So towns that have a 4-story mixed use rather than 3-story mixed use makes all the difference
Really?
in terms of, actually attracting developers. Yeah. And you can still, like, if you just go up one unit, you can, it still has like somewhat of a small town feel. It's not
Right,
that much of an
right.
increase, so, yeah.
But it changes the numbers enough so it makes it doable.
Yeah.
When we change the
we have,
density, it changes the demographic of that area too. It attracts different people, obviously, versus a four lot, or 4-acre lot,
think-
10-acre lot,
What Dan was saying too, is there a goal to reach? And I think that goal is, the magic number is 10,000 before even larger businesses will even consider
Yeah.
coming to a town.
But
Like
if
a
we want larger
CVS.
businesses,
Well,
I mean, a supermarket, I could,
we do need, and there's a place for it.
Yeah.
But we do need, but these places, these businesses won't even consider until they see a population of 10,000.
right.
So we're getting close,
Yeah.
but again, we don't want to turn it into a Quincy, but a small market, a small pharmacy, a restaurant,
Right.
where we don't have to leave town, people don't have to leave town, and they're businesses that residents can benefit from. So it will, I don't want to say alleviate tax burden, but it will help residents in more ways than one.
Well, I mean, we got Uxbridge, right, I just moved from Uxbridge, it's got all of those things. I moved here, 'cause it doesn't have any of those things. Or you go the other direction, go to
You gotta
Webster.
go back to Uxbridge to get some stuff, right?
Exactly, I don't mind Hannaford's, I go to the Whiten Community
Right.
Center
No,
myself.
exactly.
Or you can go down the hill to Webster, if we want to go the other direction, And Douglas is completely different than both of them. And, and I'd a little more conservative on that side, I'd like to keep it that way. I like the small town, we don't need bowling alleys and hockey rinks and all these things,
With drugstores and supermarkets comes traffic lights. We don't have any of those either.
And
Exactly.
traffic.
Right.
You
Love
think
no
the Four
traffic lights.
Corners at North Street is a nightmare.
That's because no Board of Selectmen wants to be the first one to put the light in, right? You do not.
You shovel, I'll put it in.
I actually suggested a place for a stoplight at, I forget what, I'm on so many committees, and I thought somebody was going to drop dead when I said it. But I'm going to bring it here in front of the master plan, because I think it should happen. I think we need to have a stoplight in front of the library, okay? So that when the police are coming down out of Depot Street, and they're coming fast because there could be something going on, you need to have a light that can stop the traffic so the police can just come out.
Like an emergency stuff, like at a fire station
I'm not
or.
saying it should
Like the
go
old
on.
fire department in Whitensville.
Yeah,
They
the light-
got
That's not a
Yeah.
stoplight, that's an emergency light, that's okay.
Oh, you should have seen the look.
It's a slippery
like that on
slope.
that one.
Yeah, but I think that's very doable. You're not talking about a permanent light, just
Right.
something
It's
for
not gonna be
emergency.
for emergency,
yeah.
but I think it's important to have it there so that the police can get out safely, speedily.
Is that in the minutes, Linda?
Yeah, we can ask them if they have a
It will be.
challenge with it.
What's it?
We can ask them if they have a hard time with
See
it.
what you started here, Bob? Sorry. So, is there anything else you need from us at this point, Emily?
I did have a
Sam?
couple more things.
Okay.
That's okay. So just continuing, so on page 3, continuing our public outreach. I think in our contract, we had scoped out having a couple, we're calling them mobile workshops. Sorry. That's all right. So we were hoping to hold these in February. So it's basically an opportunity for Sam and I to kind of go to an already existing group, sit down for an hour, have a discussion activity, and dig a little bit deeper into the master plan. So we were thinking about existing groups in town. Adult Social Center already has so many different activities and things that they hold. So we were thinking maybe calling Patrice, asking if there's any opportunity where we could kind of build off one of their activities they're already holding, like arts and crafts, something like that, a luncheon, where we could just go in and sit down for an hour, kind of describe the master plan and get some more input on that. We haven't come up with exactly with an activity yet, but it would just be very discussion based. What do you like about living here? What things would you like to change? I guess the survey will be finished at that point, so we could also go over survey results. So just a chance for us to meet people kind of where they are. So we talked about, the Adult Social Center, as well as the high school. I really want to get more youth involved in this process. They are the future of the town. And so I want to kind of understand like what they like about living here, if they plan to, if they go to college and come back, are they going to live here? What things would make it a more enjoyable town to live in? So we were talking about like going to the high school, if there's like a group like the National Honor Society or the Student Council, just something that already exists where we could kind of sit down with that group and ask them these questions and just have like a nice little discussion.
I have a question now. The survey was never placed at the high school
No, it hasn't
or
been.
the junior highs. I mean, those kids can write and read, and they could fill out a survey, and I was just thinking of that. I mean, that's how you get the kids involved. I mean, you had very few respond to the survey saying, oh, I want a BMX.
That gets us
That was
to
a
our
first
last
grader, right?
topic of
Yeah,
discussion.
that's a great segue to the next kind of topic that we wanted to bring up. I looked at the breakdown of the demographics. We only had five people under the age of 18 respond to this survey. So we were thinking, okay, so how do we really get like younger people to engage with this process? So you're thinking about creating like a shorter student-focused survey. I put some example questions we have down there. I could reach out to the superintendent and the principals, just ask them if there's a certain way we could just get this out and just really capture the ideas of the younger people in this town.
As a separate survey.
It would be a separate
So that-
survey, yes.
Tailored to that age.
I'm wondering, you saying SurveyMonkey looks at IP and stuff for multiple access?
Oh, yeah.
If a kid is in the household where the parents have taken it and then the kid sits down to take it, it might have been dropped out.
True, yeah.
But it's a separate survey, so we don't have that.
This one would be separate.
No, but
But he's
But if they
saying
had tried to take
the actual one that we just had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
right.
I mean,
didn't
lots
think
of kids
about
have
that,
phones
yeah.
these days. It would
But the original surveys
but
are
it still picks
anonymous.
up the same IP, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, but I don't understand. If it's a different
Like if
survey.
a parent was sitting on a computer and then they share a computer with their teenager.
Yeah, but because it's a different survey on SurveyMonkey, it doesn't matter if the parent took the
That's
adult.
right.
No, but he's saying, like, he's saying the current,
If they tried to do the current
so we
survey.
may have had some
Students?
possible input from younger people.
But if they did, then we would have registered that they were under 18 because we have a question for that, right?
Would it even bring up the survey, though, if it had already been used? Would they even be able to get in there to start it?
Yeah, if we create a different survey,
If you
they
could make a different
will.
survey.
I think
What
this
he's
is a good
saying
idea.
is, What this
So I
gentleman's
think that would
saying, they may
So
have tried but couldn't.
Right.
So the new survey would sort of hit reset on the IP address issue?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it would be a totally different.
All right.
What if you have multiple kids in a house? I'm just,
With different age groups, too.
The survey is
different
anonymous.
well, but no, but the IP, I'm talking the IP address.
That is a problem.
Well, if it's through the school, doesn't every kid have,
They have iPads, or-
they've got Chromebooks?
right? Yeah.
So, or if it's through a classroom, even if it's a sheet of paper that the teacher hands out,
Maybe.
we're going to take a 10-minute survey.
I was just-
Maybe pitch it as superintendent and principal sponsored exercise in civics for the kids.
I was going to say, hit the history teachers, hit the history and civics
Like-
teachers.
Here's your chance to have your young voice heard.
They have social studies still these days?
Yeah?
Yep. I would hit,
Global, I think they call it now.
I would hit the history, social studies, civics, government, I would hit those classes.
Everything, gym.
No, but I'm saying, like, you could use that as like like he was saying, a civics. Use it as,
Exercise.
To get the survey out. Yeah.
and I mean, they could have paper, give them a piece of paper and say, here,
There should be handed out in every subject, is what I'm saying.
Well, teachers could.
Some kids aren't going to take
Curriculum,
civics.
too.
Maybe they didn't, that's not their
Especially now,
curriculum.
they no longer have to teach to the test. So they can do their own curriculum.
We're not going to do it in gym class.
But some kids are saying, gee, I wish we had this sport, or,
Yeah.
that they don't have in the school system.
Well, this is the thing, you never know what kind of an idea you're going to get from someone.
Some kids don't do sports at all,
Yeah.
and say no interest. Please take sports off the curriculum.
Yeah, ban soccer.
Have you done this before with the
We
schools?
have in Spencer, yes.
And
And we
how
got
did that
80
work?
students to take it. And so we put it out at the middle school and the high school. A lot of interesting responses, too.
Yeah, there is some good.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really helpful. Some people are like, no, why would I ever want to come back to this town? And we're like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to
Who
raise my
loved the
kids
town they
here,
grew up
like in the future.
It's so boring.
So you solicited
Nothing
them
to
to do it
do.
online, on their phones, and it was
Why do we
successful.
love it? I know.
I said I was never coming back, right?
That would have been Mike.
Sorry,
On town departments and
sorry.
commissions.
You need a gavel.
About 10 cross conversations. So you're saying that you were successful, you did it online, and you said you got over 800?
80.
Oh, 80, well, that's different, I
Yeah.
suppose. Okay, but that worked versus paper?
I think so, yeah. I was not part of that process, so I would have to double check, and you weren't either. Yeah, we'll have to double check.
Would that be broken into different age groups also?
We
should.
would ask them, yeah, what their grade is. So I think maybe 6 through 12, right? The middle school and high school. I think.
Was that David Prouty? Because I think that's quite a bit larger than our high school would be as well, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah, because they have East Brookfield as well in there too, so. Yeah. What do you think about the questions that I had? I want to keep it nice and short. I know their attention spans aren't the best. So we asked, what grade are you in? We asked, how often do you use or visit these places in town? And we could list off a few of the different spots, like the library, town hall, any hiking trails, list off some of like the parks or recreational areas, maybe downtown.
Athletic fields.
Yeah.
I would ask them what type of recreational activities or stuff they would like. Because you didn't actually, like, you asked, like, town needs, but, like, what are their, like, what kind of, like, recreation stuff would they want? Do they want, you know, pool tables? Do they want, you know, what are they looking for?
BMX park.
Yeah, recreation's definitely a big part. I mean, we could ask about what are your shopping trends, but I don't think they're shopping that much. So I think
If they are, it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
Arcades don't even survive these days.
I was just going to say arcades.
I know.
I suppose we can ask them if they were born here or if they've recently relocated. Douglas.
Well, they weren't born here, because nobody gets born.
I know.
Well, have you been here since a baby? I guess, I don't know.
Were you born here?
No, but I was born in a house in Rhode Island, just over the line.
Well,
I think what you're getting at, Rich, is if you're a resident and they gave birth in Worcester, but you're still basically born in Douglas.
of course, that's
Parents.
what I was just-
Have you lived in Douglas all your life?
Yeah.
As opposed to
Right.
moving in when you were 5 years old.
Have you lived all your life? That's, I think, what you
Right.
want to say.
Yes,
Yeah.
as opposed to some young person that just moved into town.
Right.
They have a different experience.
It might be worth asking if they are involved in any activities. Are they involved in sports? You're looking at older grades, so probably not as much, but like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, like
Soccer,
Even
youth
band.
baseball.
band, yeah, like any of that. That way you can kind of get an idea of whether you're dealing with kids that don't leave the basement versus kids who are out and about doing
What
stuff.
organizations they belong to.
Yeah.
Because like the soccer teams are not through the school, right? They're separate, soccer?
We've got both.
Do you have both? Okay.
There's both.
Yeah. And things that aren't necessarily like through the school, like youth group or something.
The organizations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Private or public.
You can have a multiple choice question. Have you lived here? How long have you lived here? A, all your life, or B, blank. That'll address what Rich was driving at. Did you
Because it's going to be a
move?
lot different if you're here at 5 versus you came in at 12.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, we got to think of the demographic. They're young, so something even as simple as, what do you like best about Douglas and what do you like least?
Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
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 What would you like to see improved about the schools? What do you feel the town needs but does not currently have? Do you plan to stay in Douglas as you get older? This one, I'm really excited to see about that.
And why?
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you think we should ask the young people of Douglas?
Who's your favorite selectman?
A what?
You said we have to pay attention to this, right? So-
Well, that would get them involved, who are the selectmen.
I think, kind of getting back to, I don't want to say grade school, but what activities do you partake in? Fishing, some of that stuff's not even on here, but it relates to open space and state forest. So-
Extracurricular.
Right,
Or hobbies. Hobbies might be a better word as opposed to like activities.
Yep. A little bit both.
That's the second
Well, no, because
bullet.
I'm thinking like activities is soccer, fishing's a hobby type. So
Not
if you say,
if you're making money at it.
I'm just thinking if you say like activities, a kid might be like, oh, I play on this, but they're not thinking, on the
exactly,
weekend
yeah.
I go fishing.
Yeah.
Well, some kids could be riding dirt bikes, trailing, four-wheelers, stuff like that, too.
Yeah.
A lot of them do motorsports. That people don't even think about, because schools don't promote them.
Maybe you should put, how many hours a week do you spend on your computer?
Yeah, or outside, keep it simple.
Or your phone.
Yeah, are you an outside person on the weekends, or do you stay in on the
Right,
weekends?
exactly.
I never knew that.
Okay, well, we'll come up with a draft of that, and then for the next meeting, we'll just get everyone's approval for it, and then we'll have it out for the students. I'll communicate with the superintendent, just get their input on how we could like get it out and distribute it and everything, and hopefully have it out in like February.
Please let them know our goal is to get response from 100% of the students in Douglas.
Yes, this affects their GPA.
Well, you
Yeah.
can say that.
Otherwise, the superintendent's getting an F.
Even if it's a middle finger?
Hey, it would be a response.
We'll get some interesting responses, especially if they don't sign their name.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else for us, or?
No, that is it.
Yay.
Thank you.
All right,
Oh, wait,
good,
should
thank
we
you.
touch back on the mobile workshop?
Oh, yeah, sorry, we're kind of skipping forward to the
I just
survey.
had one quick question, through
Sure,
the chair.
Michael.
And I don't think it's been brought up, and I don't even know if the town has a liaison for the vets in town.
For veterans.
Here we are in the master plan, we're not even talking about vets. in this town. I think it's a pretty big part, there's a lot of people in this town that are vets.
Zivkak, is he the one in charge of the VFW, the post now?
I don't know, I don't know who is.
I think that's what he's
Do
asking.
we have a veterans
Or,
agent?
I thought there was a liaison for the town,
I thought it was,
or not?
Isn't there a guy that does it for 2 or 3 towns, or?
There might
Yeah, I
be.
think it's with Whitensville and one other
In
town.
Uxbridge.
that's a good
I mean,
question.
I haven't reached out to them, because I don't need to, but I mean, there's a lot of vets
Yeah.
in this town.
It might be in our town book.
Yeah,
that Matt-
so I think that should be very well
Addressed, yeah.
included in all this master plan stuff.
I might, let me see, I might have a contact.
Like a veterans agent that covers multiple towns.
That's an important need.
Yeah.
Well, I know the VFW ended up moving, they now are at the senior center, that's where they meet. So Patrice might also be a resource for knowing who is actually in charge of the VFW post for town now. I know we still have one, it's very small compared to what it used to be, but we do still have a VFW post.
Even a funeral director would know, because if there's a military funeral, they have to call
Jerry
for the guns- for the
Jackman.
21 gun salute.
Our police
Yeah,
officers
we'll definitely
do
reach
the
out.
taps.
Definitely an important group to include in this process.
The taps.
Yeah, and then just quickly back to the mobile workshops. Any thoughts on that? I don't think this group will need to like participate or prep for it at all. It's really just gonna be me and Sam, just kind of showing up to these groups. And we'll come up with probably some questions and an activity that we'll run by this group at the next meeting in January. But just wanted to make sure that it's okay with everyone here. If we're focusing on the senior in the community at the Adult Social Center and then the youth at the high school.
Is there-
Anyone had any other?
Yeah. Is there another location that people, like the same people will go to, like every week?
Other than adult social center in high school.
Yeah, other than that, yeah.
Church?
Yeah, right.
We were thinking churches, but then we thought it might be weird if we only ended up at one church. And then, like, it's like
Well,
we're
you could-
prioritizing that religion.
Hit the goodness store on Friday with some fish and chips.
You know, there's hardly any people there anymore, so you're
Yeah.
not gonna meet many people there.
And
I
and the
think
Smash
they're all
Truck,
dying.
the Smash Truck is closed for the season, because that's the other place.
Talking about just a place to hold something.
Place that people regularly attend.
Or like a group.
Yeah.
So the adult social center, they meet there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, so we're gonna go there.
So the Douglas High School, you wouldn't be meeting them there.
We would be.
I'm confused on that. Are you just looking for a place to meet
No, someplace where people meet socially.
Yeah.
or groups?
Well, people are,
Existing group.
An
just
existing
people in
group,
general.
Okay.
So that's,
We would be going to the high school, though.
that would be the churches.
Yeah, and we'd either, speak to National Honor Society, Student Council, or if the principal or whoever suggests a different group, that would be better to speak with.
Yep.
How about like, I was thinking, like you were talking about vets and the Beagle Club, all the gun ranges
Oh, there
in
you go, yeah, the
town.
Beagle Club.
Maybe they'd like to be
Yeah,
involved
rod
in
and gun.
this. I mean, we could get the
single.
There's two Beagle clubs this year.
Whitensville Fish and Game.
Oh, yeah.
The Sokol, the
Yeah.
Sokol is still, Sokol is still
I
active.
mean, the one down the other way.
The Sokol.
One has a building, one doesn't.
For,
The Beagle clubs, there's two of them.
oh,
There's one just before you get out there to Whittier, then they have the trails.
Oh, okay,
beside
that's the
Beagle
trails,
Club.
yeah.
Then you have the other one, that is the actual Beagle Club.
and
Right,
Whitensville
right.
Fish and Game is actually in Douglas.
Right.
The Sokol still has an active population for the Slovak Catholic Sokols that meet at the Sokol Club.
Well, I'm talking about hunters.
Yeah, but I'm
and
saying like.
Fish and Game stuff type activity.
Is that a religious organization?
No, it's a fraternal organization.
It's mostly a bargain now.
They still participate,
fraternity and
they still
sluts.
participate in the sluts and all of that. They are still presence there.
Who's the head of that, Randy Maniac, right?
Yeah, Roger and Judy are still kind of involved, but I
Right.
believe Randy's basically
Yeah, they get
taken it
held,
over.
yeah.
Randy and John, I think, are the two that are doing it.
Alrighty, anything else you're looking for?
No, I
Okay.
think so.
Anybody have any final questions, comments, considerations for Emily, Sam? Or any thoughts at all? As
Thank
far
you.
as master plan's concerned?
I think we're making pretty good progress with
Yeah,
We are, definitely.
never dull,
your efforts, too.
never dull.
Now,
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all.
Thank you.
Make sure you go to the comic, because by next time the lights might not be on.
Yeah.
That's true,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
And then you can turn around, you can come back. It's not
Literally,
far out of your way, is it?
it's 2 miles
5
west.
minutes.
Yeah, it's 5
Yeah.
minutes, you're going to
Up
be
and
home.
down.
And you'll know when you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna see it, you go right up by the congregation, you see it.
Yeah, you
with
can
the
go
light
right
on,
up
go
around
right
it
up
and
there,
come back.
You can just turn around, come right back.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Any final business? Anything? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who
Thank you.
seconded? Ross?